So when we look at the business level strategies, I think it's important to note that these are Porter strategies. These are also the strategies that, oh gosh, hold on a second. I suppose I need to share that screen. Guys, generally your OTs will be a lot more professional than me. So just remember that and be grateful that you have them and not the useless one. Okay, there we go. Everyone see that? Okay, perfect. Okay, guys, so when we look at these generic strategies indicate to us how we will compete in an industry. In terms of these generic strategies, we know that they're Porter strategies. They tend to focus within that level of the strategies, the middle level. We will also see the corporate level strategies in the next question, and we won't pay much attention to the operational level strategies, which will relate to your different functional areas, and that will be HR and finance and operations and supply chain, etc., within a business. So if we go down to these generic strategies, right, there are two areas, and they then translate into different options. But there are two things that businesses need to decide on when competing in an industry. The first thing that they have to decide on is whether they are going to compete on a broad market or whether they will compete on a narrow market. The moment they think that they will compete on a narrow market, you will immediately start talking about focus strategies. In terms of broader markets, you would then obviously then look at the second option, which will be whether they compete on uniqueness, so product differentiation, or whether they compete on the basis of cost. When they compete on the basis of cost, everything they do in terms of their supply chain, in terms of their operations, is about efficiency and finding efficiencies and finding savings and passing those savings onto their customers as part of their way of competing, as part of staying a step ahead of their competitors. In terms of product differentiation, in terms of uniqueness, it will always be a focus around research and development. It will always be around the value that they create for their customers. It will always be about impressing their customers. It will always be about offering something new and something special to customers that generally tend to be very proud about the brand that they use and be very, very brand loyal. And then on the basis of that, we then combine those with your focus strategies. Now, initially, when Porter put these generic strategies together, he only had 3 of them. He had the cost leadership, he had the differentiation, and he had a single focus strategy. These had been transformed to become more realistic in the modern world into these 5 strategies. So overall cost leadership, broad differentiation, and then the different options in terms of low cost, and then the new one, which is your best value provider strategy or the best cost provider strategy. So if we look at, and I'm going to just go with fast food, if we look very quickly at an overall cost leadership strategy, where everything is about efficiency, where everything is about cost saving and pass those cost savings on to customers, which fast food providers would fit into that, where everything is about being cheap and providing great value for money? What provider would? McDonald's? You see, Rabia, and I'm hoping I pronounced that right. McDonald's claim that they differentiated, but I disagree with them. McDonald's, in my mind, will always be a low-cost provider. But in terms of what they claim to be, is they claim that they differentiate, which is quite strange. I tend to go with Pedro's. Leah, Chicken Licken, I think Chicken Licken fits into that. I don't want to pick on King Pie, 100%, Quentin. I think King Pie, I don't even know what their specials are at the moment, but you can get really, really good value for money at King Pie. Chicken Licken, I think, goes there. Yeah. This McDonald's claim they are differentiated, which yesterday, I'm not a big McDonald's fan and I'm not a big takeaway fan, but I don't know. It's a strange one for me that they claim that they differentiated. I think they are a low-cost provider. Guys, I'm picking on because one of my students works for them and I've already picked on him enough, but I hear about Hungry Lion as well. I don't know if anyone has had some of Hungry Lion's food. Okay. You see, you guys are too upper class, clearly, for Hungry Lion. Oh, what's in the fries, Tejo? I don't know, boy. They're apparently everywhere. Sandra, I don't know. No, they're in South Africa as well. A long time ago, Pam. Okay. What's in the fries? They might not be potatoes, or are they very special? Tejo?
Sorry, what was you saying?
What's in the fries?
McDonald's. We don't know.
Okay. I thought you meant the Hungry Lion fries. I've never had
no.
Hungry Lion, guys. I've also never had what is Chicken Licken, to admit, guys. I've also not had King Pie, so but I know they're fairly cheap. Okay, guys, in terms of broad differentiation, what would we fit into that as a fast food option? And as I said, McDonald's claim to be there. Steers will definitely claim to be there. Yeah. Who else would into that? Nando's, KFC. I think KFC might go there. Nando's definitely is there. Nando's is definitely differentiated. Their prices are higher. I think their quality they claim is better. I also know that in terms of their suppliers, they're very selective in terms of their suppliers. Spur, yeah, Spur takeaway, very, very much there as well. I think we're on the right track. Yeah, Burger King, yeah, not a big fan of Burger King. Fishaways, without a doubt. Fishaways proven without a doubt. And Fishaways would be great if the fish were meat and they were steaks and they were medium rare. I don't eat seafood, unfortunately. So I think everyone is there with that. Guys, and then the others. Best cost provider. You see, I put Chicken Licken as a best cost provider because the quality is generally very good, but it has very good value for money. I believe the only issue with Chicken Licken is that it's very salty because, the quality of Chicken Licken is very good. You see, I would have also, they're quite pricey. Oh, okay, Asad. I would have put KFC as a best price provider as well. What the heck is the shade? Muzamil, what is the shade? Yes, that sounds like a cell from the back of a truck that's rolled over somewhere in the middle of Mpumalanga, boy. What is the shade? You don't have to type, you can talk, boy. Throwing shade on chicken.
You're making fun of them, sir.
Oh, boy, honestly. I think you're talking about some strange restaurant where you go and watch girls with topless girls serve you chicken. I've never had Chicken Licken and I've never had it in the shade, boy. Oh, sorry guys, I'm not very professional, as you can clearly see. I'll edit this later. Those slider burgers went to private school. Oh my word. Checho lives for chicken lick and okay, chicken lick and hot wings. Oh my gosh, guys. I think you'll be hungry after today's session. Focused differentiation strategy, and I was always impressed with their food. And then I must admit, I ordered a burger from them recently, and it was the most disgusting thing I'd ever had, and that was Kuwait. Oh gosh, I don't know what's happened there. It was Kuwait, the sort of they the healthier option. So when I think of focused differentiation, unique, it doesn't have a big customer, and I'm possibly mispronouncing it as well. Kuwait. I don't know if anyone has tried Kuwait.
Hi,
I
Henny.
had yeah, go Tejo.
I live for Kauai. I actually just had a smoothie from them right now. They're at my gym. It's called Kauai. It's called Kauai. I need to correct you.
Yeah. Can I just say, I ordered one and it was so disgusting. It was so disgusting.
Henny.
It was the first time that it's been that bad, and I'll never get from them. They burned the patty to crisp. It was so disgusting. I got it from Mr. D, and I just rated them 0 and gave the delivery. But I will never ever order from them again. I'd rather just go. Oh, guys, the one that I actually really enjoy. I'm sharing all. No, are you insane, Leo? Ek is Afrikaans. Dink jy ek eet vegan burgers? Vegan burger. Yeah. Yeah. Mama burgers are also very good. Okay. Okay, guys, and then I don't know about other focus differentiated strategy ones. Ja, nee, Stefan, imagine dit. Goeie genigtig. Ja, vegan burgers is goed wat my kos eet. Okay, guys, focus differentiation strategies. Any other options there? Al wat ek eet, moet al wat ek eet. Okay, guys, focus differentiation strategies. Yeah, no, the food that my food eats veggies, guys. Any other focus differentiation ones, guys? Unique takeaways? I can't think offhand. I know there's some real exclusive pizza places, but offhand I can't think who they are. Exactly, Tefo. Okay, yeah, Rockamama's. I think Rockamama's might fit into that, Sandra. Um, Muchachos, Romans. You see, Romans for me is very much best cost provider. Bird and Company, I believe, are very good, Cheryl, and might. But again, I don't know the cost of Bird and Company. But for me, Romans is very much a best cost provider strategy. Guys, and then the focused low cost strategy. These are I can't think of a low cost provider. Okay, I don't know what even Andizio is, guys. So I've never even tried it. BP Pies. So you don't think many people low cost provider, yeah. Focused low cost provider. I don't know how many people would eat BP pies, but you're okay, very cool. Okay, best milkshakes, very nice. I do like milkshakes though. Espresso coffee. Yeah, espresso is very good, but they have a massive 12 Rand for everything. Yeah. And I have the plastic cups, 57 Rand, 56 Rand for the cups. BP pies, holy nonsense. I think everyone eats BP pies who want to die younger. Yeah, when you're that drunk, you can eat anything because you can't see what you're eating. Guys, focused low-cost strategies. Yeah, we've got to have a cup. Guys, for me, focused low-cost strategies, I can't think offhand, but the example that I give students would be those places that sell past the sell-by date food, tinned food. For me, that is a focused low-cost strategy. Now, I know that's not takeaway, but we get some of these stores that sell past the sell-by date, and it's canned goods. Now, canned goods can absolutely be fine after the sell-by date, and we have a couple of places around where people buy those, and it is for people that are struggling that will buy there. And the prices are really reasonable. But I can't think of a takeaway. So maybe that is the best option. So in terms of the assignment itself, and thank you guys for the contribution. I think that was brilliant. I think you guys are brilliant. So in terms of the options that we have, let's have a quick glance at the assignment question. I just need to, I'm working on a screen and not a screen. I'm working on a whiteboard, and I've got my honor students sitting quietly and throwing things at me, including knives. But they're useless. They keep hitting the board. Guys, in terms of the business level strategy, now, obviously, the business level strategies that are available to them, you can see what they are, and the simple truth is that is what we have as options. I think if you read the case study, you'll see that there are some elements of differentiation, but there is also some elements of cost leadership. Now, I tend to not worry too much about what's on a memo, because I think as long as students can argue, but there is obviously going to be, based on the memo, a right answer. But I think if you can argue and you can build an argument properly, then obviously we have to consider the argument, because we mark using a rubric. Can I see what and where you guys have felt the answer should lie? Broad suggestions, broad ideas? Because there's definitely a sense of differentiation. There's definitely a sense of cost leadership. I don't see a sense of focus. I don't see a sense that it is for a narrow market. Where did you guys feel this went? Broad target, agreed with that, Cheryl. Anyone else? Who found elements of cost leadership in it? I mean, this is not a very expensive app. It's not going to kill your pocket being part of the app. So there is significant efficiencies associated with the app, and those efficiencies have definitely been passed on. Okay. I mean, there is uniqueness. I mean, if you look at the combinations of additional added benefits and the fact that there's some real R&D going into it, there is some elements of differentiation. So I don't know where you guys have argued this, but I think there's enough evidence to suggest the presence of the top 3 bits there. I don't know if you guys can see. There's the real evidence that we have those 3 bits. Now, in terms of the question itself, sorry, I need to just keep my mouse where I can focus. You need to look at the actual strategy that they've identified and the business level strategy. Once you've done that, please remember that it's about integrating theory and application at that level. For me, when I mark, and the other markers, and we'll have a marking call before we mark, for me, what makes a really good assignment at this level is how you integrate your application and your theory, and it's the balance between the application and the theory. Also key is, in terms of the application, it's connecting the right aspects from the case study with the correct elements from the theory. So we are going to look very carefully whether you understand the theory well enough in terms of connecting the bits from the case study that perfectly match with the elements from the theory. And there is enough in this case study that perfectly matches the bits from the theory. So it's integrating theory and application. Now, identify the business level strategy, and then also tell us how they're implementing the business level strategy. Now, obviously, you will talk about the efficiencies, you'll talk about the differentiation. The advantages and disadvantages in terms of the strategy, those are in the textbook. So if we go through them, I don't have the textbook page numbers here, but we know that, can somebody share the pages for us, guys, of so the advantages of cost leadership, page 259. Thanks, Cheryl. So you've gone with broad targets, so sort of best value strategy. Yeah, I think that's a really good option to consider. So key here, if you go with cost leadership, those are the advantages. I think the key thing is that because you are so focused on efficiency and passing cost savings on to others, you will constantly be a step ahead of everyone else in the market. You can see some of the other elements. In terms of these advantages and disadvantages, if you're very, very sharp, you can see that these link to Porter's 5 forces. Remember Porter's 5 forces from the first semester module? There you have the competitors, you have the suppliers, you have the buyers, you have the substitutes, and you have the new entrants. So the moment you remember Porter's 5 forces, you then have the answer to each of these advantages and disadvantages. It simply reflects against Porter's 5 forces. And remember, Porter also would have created these generic strategies. You'll also see Porter later in this module, because he is also the person that created Porter's Diamond, which talks about the kind of elements that you look at when entering a new region, a new country, in terms of the corporate global strategy stuff that you guys will see in Learning Unit 4. Okay. And then if you look at the disadvantages, you can see that you can then look at competitors there, and then also the idea of losing the customers, where you become so cheap that you become cheap and nasty, and essentially people will then go elsewhere. Sorry, my slide jumped there. Differentiation, I think you guys know that I've already mentioned the R&D and the uniqueness and standing out from the crowd. The elements that we look at there, again, the differentiation, you've got a clear sense of what gives us the advantages. I discussed that at the beginning. Again, Porter's 5 forces, the basis for that discussion. Again, brand loyalty trumps everything, and brand loyalty is key here. In terms of people who go with differentiation, they become incredibly brand loyal. Now, we don't get brand loyalty as much in fast foods as we do with people who drive BMW, Audi, or Mercedes. To me, if you drive BMW, you always drive BMW. You know, it's that kind of brand loyalty that you have. And then, guys, differentiation, disadvantages. I have an answer, but I'm being recorded today, and normally I don't care what I say, but when the recording is on, just go look up what is the difference between a porcupine and a BMW driver, and that will give you your answer, boy. Muzamil, go look it up quickly. The difference. Yeah, it's on the outside, boy. I'm just jealous. No, I'm not. I'm being recorded. Well, you need to report me immediately. Okay, guys, and then the focus strategies, your OT would have gone through these with you. Guys, please also pay a bit of attention to this one. For people who can't afford a BMW and don't want to be on the outside of the porcupine. Um, you would buy a Toyota, you would buy a Suzuki because they fit in perfectly into the best value strategies, the integrated cost leadership differentiation strategies. I also think that that might be a good way to approach this question because there are elements of efficiencies and uniqueness. So here you get value for money. And I think this is what this app offers. But again, guys, as long as you can argue, because we use a rubric, and yes, obviously we have a memo, but at this level, it is your argumentation that you're arguing that determines your marks. But if you're going to argue rubbish, then we're going to give you rubbish marks, obviously. I mean, I think you need to understand that. So you can't go completely off track and tell me that this is a focused differentiation or focused cost strategy because it's a load of horse manure then. So you've got to be logical in terms of your argument, hey? Amine, and I'm hoping I pronounced that right. Amine, if we look at the question very quickly, hold on a second. So it says there, it's integrating it with Avo. So you need to edit and edit all the time. So you need to make sure that it's a balance between application and theory, and somehow you need to balance those two. Okay, so you will discuss it in relation to Avo. Now you're not going to mention every single one of those. Ek is Afrikaans Amine, maar dit was 'n bietjie van 'n kansvat geweest. Just to be honest with you, it is about taking the key elements. We don't want to see everything. We want to see that you're able to discern which of those. Oh, don't do that to me, Rachel. This is third year. I'm not going to answer that question. I mean, you need to balance that. I'm definitely not going to say that because in my mind, you need to know where the focus should be. We also don't like bullet points, to be honest with you. So, Rachel, I think you need to know where you need to balance this, okay? But don't try and say 10 marks, 10 marks, 10 marks, because you're going to run into difficulties by doing that. I think you should have a balanced discussion on these. Sorry, Rachel, if that's not the answer that you want to hear. I think at third year level, I think you need to be able to discern enough where the focus should be and what you should put in. I mean, also, you don't need to mention every advantage and disadvantage. You need to take out those key ones that would apply to this case study. Okay, you don't have to mention everything because we don't blindly mark, oh, have you mentioned this, this, and this. That's not how rubrics work. Rubrics give us an overall impression of whether you understand it and whether you've integrated properly. I hope I'm answering this properly, guys. Okay, that's fine. I'm in there. Rachel, are you okay? I don't like the idea of saying 10, 10, 10. I think it's the overall impression and paying attention to everything. And if I'm contradicting your OTs, guys, please tell me if I am contradicting your OTs, because obviously your OTs will mark this. So if I am, I apologize. Okay, no problem. Okay, guys, and then obviously advantages and disadvantages. Right, and then evaluate. Okay, thanks, Kim. Evaluate, and then also whether it suits them. Okay, so guys, in terms of evaluating the business level strategy, so here we go. Oh, Quentin, the resource requirement is spelt out here. So hold on a second. It's Quentin, hey. Yeah, the resource requirement, I think it's on the first page. they tell us how many extra sources you need in addition to the textbook. Hold on, let me just get there. Shucks. Sorry, does anyone offhand know where it is? I know I saw it here. Two more. But guys, yeah, don't limit yourself to two. If you want to use additional sources, use additional sources. Please remember peer-reviewed sources. Do not give us Investopedia, don't give us Business Balls, don't give us Fool.com, don't give us any of those ridiculous things. You go into EBSCOhost, you try and limit your search on EBSCOhost to not more than sources that are more than 6 years old. However, it doesn't say you can't use sources older than 6 years old, because you can use some of really good sources that are older than that. In addition to that, we do not want to see blogs. We do not want to see anything like that. Okay, guys, where we might accept blogs is if you're looking at AVO and things that relate to AVO. And yes, I know, because for some, sorry, and this is going to have a meltdown. For some reason, they recommend Indeed.com. My students have been told you do not use Indeed.com. Indeed.com is not a peer-reviewed source. You do not use e-commerce. I cannot believe that this has been given to us as a source. And if you have, we're not going to penalize. But guys, this should not be used. I think we should be discerning enough not to be referencing from this stuff, okay? This is also not a peer-reviewed source. It's not trustworthy. Indeed is not trustworthy. Yeah, this you can use because it relates to AVO. So I don't have an issue with that. You can use that one as well. Yeah, I don't mind this one being used, guys. But the stuff from Indeed, that is not peer reviewed. Can I just check who has used Indeed? If you have, guys, go find a better source. I don't want to see Indeed. E-commerce is not a peer-reviewed source. I think for you that are going on to honors, the quicker we get rid of these nonsense sources, the better. I have spoken to the IIE about it, and we are trying to weed out these kinds of sources that we shouldn't be given. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to get back here. Okay, guys, in terms of the advantages and disadvantages, guys, can you just please share page numbers for these as well? It's from whatever that page is onwards, I think, in the textbook. I have got this slide that is a nice summary of all the discussions. What I'll do, thanks Cheryl, 264. I have this slide. I'll put this slide on our group, our OT group, and I'll ask the OTs to share that with you guys. It is a wonderful summary to work from in terms of, and then you can just find a reference for it, okay? Guys, and then evaluating strategies. Please make sure that when you do the evaluation of the strategies, that you use these particular criteria and that you use those and discuss AVO in relation to those. Please also, guys, discuss appropriateness, but don't go through this nonsense. We don't need you to tell us how a SWOT matrix, a decision tree, and a scenario works. We don't need to see this in the answer. You need to discuss it in relation to that particular appropriateness, the idea that it fits the organization in terms of its vision, the external environment and its resources and its capabilities, and also the idea that it keeps the organization relevant in terms of the world that it operates in. I don't want to see discussions on the SWOT matrix and nonsense around decision trees and things like that, or scenarios. And yeah, we all know what a SWOT matrix is. You would have seen it last year as part of your first semester as the TOES matrix. Okay, I'm not going through that. That's your decision tree. Here are a couple of examples I gave my students, scenarios we discussed as well. Okay, so that's the feasibility, guys. It's essentially, have they got the resources to make this real? I mean, in terms of what we see with AVA, they're delivering and they keep delivering. So they have got the capabilities, the resource availability to do it, finance and resource availability to do it. Desirability, I think, in terms of what they've achieved, they have certainly met the organizational priorities. They've not exposed themselves to vulnerabilities, and they've also struck while the iron is hot. Oh my goodness me, my apologies for that. Yeah, consistency. I think key in terms of this, that it fits in with what they want to achieve from a vision, strategic intent perspective. The one that people often get wrong is the validity discussion. So you need to go look at whether what they've created and what they've put out to the world has been designed around sound stats and sound numbers in terms of the real world. So something that is valid is actually based around sound research, statistically verifiable research, not as a thumbsuck. Now, I don't know whether you're going to find anything in the case study on that. So just maybe do a little bit of extra research. I can't offhand remember whether there's anything on that. And then attractiveness to stakeholders, guys. Yeah, it really is. What do the stakeholders think of this? And we've spoken about. Absolutely. But just remember, Boyo, that's not the angle that this is taken from, Norman. That's not the angle that this is taken from. It is actually taken from the angle, was this created based on valid information? Okay, Boyo. So, and people get that wrong every time. So you make certain assumptions about the future, and that assumption has to be based on valid and sound statistical analyses and sound information initially. Okay. And then, guys, attractiveness to stakeholders. There are many ways of making money. I use the example that we as a group here can hire a boat. We can go to the southern oceans. We can dress up warm and we can go club seals to death, and baby seals, sorry, and we can go sell their pelts. Easy money, but is it the right thing to do? So often we have to make sure that our strategies are acceptable to stakeholders, and this one definitely is in terms of the impact that it's had. Okay, guys, any questions around the first question? Okay, cool, perfect, Boyo. Everyone else, I'm hoping that I'm answering everything that you're asking, guys. Okay. Okay, guys, please make sure that you glance at these rubrics. This guides us in terms of how we mark. Right, the second one. On a second here. Right, guys, so corporate level strategies. Yeah, if you look here, the corporate level strategy that they are adopting, and then once you've done that, advantages and disadvantage, and then an alternate corporate level strategy. Yeah, my apologies for the glitchy bits in the editing there, guys. So in terms of corporate level strategies, it is Learning Unit 3. Okay. Apologies. Okay, the corporate level strategies. I don't know, that's not showing up really well, guys. Hold on a second. Right, it's going to be the focus around the organic growth strategies. I think the idea is that you're likely to find it here. It's market penetration. It's not going to be consolidation. It is more likely to be within these areas here, guys. So you're likely to look at a discussion around market development or product development. Now you can use either one and then make the other your suggestion. I know which one I would go for. Can I get a sense of which one you guys have gone for thus far? Just a page number as well, someone, please. Can I see what people have gone for in terms of the corporate level strategy? Yeah, Carl, I would comfortably go with that. Anyone else? Haven't got there yet, Cheryl. No problem. I think the submission is early in October. Is that right? Yeah, my students know that I don't track submission dates. Product development like that, Kim, like that, because they keep adding additional apps. So for me, I'm hell of a comfortable with product. I'm very comfortable with that one as well. Okay, so guys, you're looking at product development in my mind, and your focus is definitely here. And you can see in terms of product development, yeah, modifying, creating new products, you constantly see the number of variations of ads that they're adding, and it perfectly fits this discussion. I mean, the one thing, despite the glitch with the ridiculous suggestion on those sources, is we cannot fault the quality of the actual case study. That is very good, and the IE should be commended for that. So please have a glance at that. As the alternate strategy, oh, thank you, Cheryl, page 337, guys. That's perfect, Cheryl, you're a star. Okay, sorry to just go through this, guys. In terms of the advantages and disadvantages, you're going to have to do additional research there, because the textbook doesn't refer to advantages and disadvantages. So if you are going to use two sources, this is one of your sources. I would suggest you use more sources. I don't like the idea of two sources at a third year level. So go and find additional sources for this, advantages and disadvantages of the strategy. Okay. So you have to do additional search there. Everyone okay with that? Unless you have something in your textbook that has any information on that. I think my group, because we have a WhatsApp group, if you're on the WhatsApp group, guys can share sources. I think we're quite happy to do that on our WhatsApp group anyway. Okay, there's nothing in the textbook on that, so a little bit of additional research. Guys, the alternate corporate strategy, my suggestion is don't look much further than here, or stay on the same slide and just recommend that one. Can I see what you guys have suggested? Can I see what you guys had suggested? Yeah, I'm very happy with that market call. Anyone else? If you are going to go there, don't go to unrelated, guys. I think that would be risky. Related diversification, something like offering a music link or something like that. If you want to go further, no, don't go further. Don't go further. I think you're stretching your imagination a little bit too much. I would stay with market, or if you want to stretch it a little bit, as long as you can yeah, discuss and motivate. I will go there. Don't go unrelated. It really means that you're starting to step away from your core business, and that is risky. Okay, and you need to look, if you are going diversification, it's normally when the industry is in a decline, and I really don't believe this industry is in a decline. So have a look at maybe staying on what's on that slide. Okay, so market development, the idea of finding new markets for existing products. They have a fantastic existing products. They have a fantastic existing product, and accessing new markets should be fairly simple. Product development, constantly adding and modifying existing products in order to impress your customers, in order to attract additional customers. And then the real idea is significant R&D, and there's evidence of R&D in this organization. Okay. So no drama with that one, guys. Nothing too dramatic. Again, the same guideline. Make sure that you integrate theory and application. The balance between those two, very, very, very important. Right, and then the last one, guys, yeah, 5 triggers for business model change. Hold on a second, I might take a moment here to find it. No, there's nothing wrong with diversification, as long as it's related. I didn't say stay away from diversification at all. Hold on a second. Can okay, let me do one thing at a time, because I'm too dumb to do 2 things at a time. There's nothing wrong. Remember, I've said it's fine to go diversification. Remember, I went straight to there. As long as it's related, absolutely fine. Just don't go out to diversification. So you can go related diversification, as I said. So they can offer a music app. So a music app might not perfectly match what they're doing now. Okay, but it's about arguing. So I'm not confusing you. I agree with your OT. It's just you need to argue. Okay. So as long as it's not unrelated, it's very risky to go unrelated. Remember, there are 2 options in diversification. I'm quite happy with related diversification, but the moment you step into unrelated diversification, you move away from your core business. And for this kind of business that's very heavily regulated, unrelated is a heck of a dangerous. Okay. Hope that answers it. Okay. Right, guys, so the next one, the 5 triggers. Just want to open my learning unit 2. Can somebody give us the page number for that? Oh, for some reason, I've now made this bigger. I'm so sorry. Okay, guys, page number quickly. I've got it on the slides. Johnson et al. 1. Ten-mark question. Okay, as Cheryl finds the page for me. So it's Learning Unit 2, Cheryl. So it's in the Innovation chapter. Guys, so essentially the things that trigger change. The first one is when you have a group of customers locked out of a market. Are you a star? This is question, oh my goodness, my apologies. Question 3, let me just put that up. Sorry, Cheryl. That one. So it's advising them on the 5 triggers of change. Oh, this is the issue. Sorry, guys, is this the correct assignment? That's what I asked earlier. See, it shouldn't, you see that, because 2 assignments were distributed. So, because international strategy, international strategy is Learning Unit 4, and it shouldn't be in the assignment. That's the issue. It's not a major train smash. Just take a picture of this, Cheryl. Cheryl, just take a picture of this. Easy peasy. Okay. Okay, guys, can I just, oh, Cheryl, it's in Learning Unit 2, so if you can, somebody could find me the page, shame, I'm putting it all on Cheryl to do. Okay, guys, so essentially the triggers of change. Yeah, so their customers locked out. Essentially, the current solutions just are too costly and you're excluding customers. The second one is new technologies, and we know that advances in terms of apps are significant. And yeah, you could be a disruptor in the industry. And yeah, the new low-end people trying to come in and the competition base of the shift. I think a lot of it applies in terms of the case study. They're asking you to advise on all 5, so please discuss all 5 and then link it again to the actual case study. Please just note, guys, this is not the biggest question. It's 10 marks. The last thing that I want to do is quickly look at the introduction. We mark this last, guys, simply because, yeah, it's easier for us to do it this way. So in our rubric, we'll have this as the last bit. Let me just make this smaller. Right. So please make sure that you pay attention to this part here, structure of report and clarity of writing. One of the rules that I have is that you don't send any assignment in unless you've used the editor function in Word. If you don't, you're a star, you're a star, page 304. You do not use any, you do not submit any assignment to me unless you've run it through the editing function in Word, guys. It's not perfect, but it's better than not editing it whatsoever. If you don't know how to use the editing function, just ask one of your WhatsApp groups. I'm pretty sure somebody will help you with that. There is an editor function on Office 365. Okay, in terms of the structure, 5 marks, 10 marks make a big difference. Okay, so you can clearly see that what we're looking for: clear introduction, clear conclusion, and then decent academic English. Guys, and then I don't even look at accomplished. Poor shouldn't enter into our vocab at this level. Tone and presentation, 3 marks, and then you can see the academic sources used, and that's why my class, I can tell you now, I am going to have the heebie-jeebies with you if you use Indeed.com and e-commerce and nonsense like that. I've emphasized enough the need for peer-reviewed sources. Okay, guys, any questions? Everyone okay with how this went? My apologies for arriving late. I'm an idiot. That's part of my magic, unfortunately. Right. Okay, Carl, I'm happy. Any other questions? Anyone? Complaints to Henny at I'm not going to open your email.com. Okay, I'm glad, Norman. Okay, guys, complain to your OTs about me. They also will know to send it to the same email address. It's a pleasure, everyone. Please look after yourselves. Thanks, the OTs. Oh boy, don't ask me. Sandra, don't ask me the obvious. I don't know what the word count is. You want me to go and look for you? Um, what's the word count, guys? Um, oh, well, you'll just fail. Thanks, Carl. 2,500, Sandra. Yeah, the entire word count. Oh, Leah, I'll fail you guys. Maximum, yeah. I don't mind if you guys go 10 over and 10 under. I better stop recording because I'm going to get fired.